You won't be far away, will you, Sean?
Just breathe, right? Yep. It's all about breathing.
He's getting one. Like that picture of Ronnie getting fed fish by that little kid.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, I say, it's alright. Darling, the smile's returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. It's alright. It's alright.
Good morning, everyone. Ooh, straight up. We're gathered here today to honour and celebrate the life of Robin Trist. I'll be right. No, I'll be right. I'll be right. I thank you all for being here and to support each other in this difficult time. My name is Matthew Oliver Graham, or Mog. I've been a friend of Roddy's for 30 years. And he's been a very integral part of my life, as with all of us at some stage. Robin, or as most of you know, Roddy, was a remarkable person who touched the lives of many. Today we come together not only to mourn his passing, but to remember the love, the mateship, the joy, and the laughter he brought into our lives. Roddy was an awesome human. I'll miss him dearly. Right now I'd like to invite Roddy's dad, Jeff, up to speak about Rod's life, fill in some of the blanks that we didn't know when he was a child.
Go ahead, mate.
I know.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm right. Thank you. Let me go and sit in.
I'll give you your phone, would you? He's a bit of a rascal, my boy. I think, as we all know. And his formative years, his early years, were quite peaceful, actually. We didn't have any problems with him then. He was a good baby. He was born in Sydney. We stayed there for a few years at North Rocks, then we moved to the south coast, where he and his brother had the freedom of the Crookhaven River to swim in, sail in, boat in, and all of the foreshores to play in. It was a great spot. Roddy got the name Roddy because of his brother. At 2 years and 9 months old, he had difficulty pronouncing B's. So Robin became Rodin. And that very quickly changed to Roddy, and he's had that nickname all of his life. Yeah, he didn't mind it, actually. It was good. Roddy started school at Coalborough Primary, which was a seaside village near where we lived at Dorient Point. And in 1987, we had just sold the business down there and had our feet up, and we got a phone call from his godfather, Uncle Henry. At that stage, Robin was 11 years old, and Uncle Henry said, "Well, I'm at Ulladulla bringing the Maxi Yacht freight train back up to Sydney after the Sydney-Hobart Roads. Would you like to sail?" Well, of course, yes, we do. Off we headed for Ulladulla, and that picture on the back of the leaflet is my 11-year-old boy at the helm of a Maxi Yacht. Not many kids at 11 years old get that opportunity. Thanks, Uncle H, for all those things. Where is he? Oh, there you are. Didn't have your coat on. I've got Henry's coat on. Mine didn't fit. Righto, we moved to Shoalhaven Heads, which is, again, South Coast, where Roddy then went to Nowra Technology High School for his year 12 to 18, or whatever it is these days. During that period, he showed an interest. His mother was got together with the Nowra Dance Centre, and he showed an interest in and a talent for ballet dancing, which was and he did it very, very well. And at the age of about 15, I bet him five. He wasn't had a big physique then. He was still quite small. I bet him $5 that by the time he was 18, he'd be taller than me. Well, I won the bet. At 18, he was taller than me and filling out very rapidly, which sort of put an end to the tripping around the light fantastic on ballet. But he did carry on with exhibition ballroom dancing with his then Lady Heather. From school, he joined BHP as a cadet metallurgist. Got his qualifications. Started working in the hot strip mill, which is rolling hot strips of metal, strip mill. He then transferred to the basic oxygen steel making plant, where he was, in actual fact, put in charge of that plant on shift work. And he was the youngest cadet graduate to hold that position in BHP, running that plant, which was worth about $2 million a melt. So a big responsibility, but as usual with my boy, he handled it with ease. During that period, he purchased his first house at Shoalhaven Heads. And may I say, that was where the fun started. It was the hub of activity in Shoalhaven Heads, entertaining everybody else on occasions, restoring his wonderful old XP Falcon, lots of parties, and it was even my eldest boy's bolt hole there when he had a blue with his missus. And during that period also, it never still, my boy, never still. He got together with the rock group called Felt, which comprised of himself as drummer. The other members were Mog, Ben Abbott and Phil Herbert. Unfortunately, Phil can't be here today. He's over in England on a defence assignment. They did pretty well, actually. They did a few entertainments. They played gigs in the south coast, Wollongong down to Ulladulla. Highlights was playing a set at the Olympic torch ceremony in Shoalhaven Heads, opening a gig for Vanessa Amorossi, I don't remember, and playing a New Year's gig in North Wollongong in front of 3,000 people. Quite an achievement, I think, having had a band in myself when I was young. He left BHP, he got a little bit disenchanted with it. It was a pretty hard environment, and he hadn't done any travelling, so off he went, international travel. Went to England first, where he was able to spend a lot of time with his cousin Emma, who lived in Devon, and her husband Richard, with which he formed a long-lasting relationship and friendship. He lived in Wimbledon, Totnes, southern France, where he was doing some landscaping work. He worked in hotel management and landscaping in London, and did a lot of travel around Europe with quite a few golf trips with his friend Richard in Spain. They were good days. They were hard days on occasion. Sleeping in a car in winter in England's not very much fun. That's when he was broke. He went when he came home in 2006. Worked in Western Australia with a polypipe systems company that installed pipes for mining industry. He was there for about 12 months. He came back over here and, believe it or not, worked with Mog Constructions. Property development, renovations, new builds, and he worked as a trade assistant. I believe there were some funny times there. More can tell you about that later. He also worked as a rep for Foster's, being qualified to do such work with his experience in England and in the industry. He got around. 2011, he was in waste management in Nowra as a leading hand. At that particular stage, we'd moved up to here, Tamworth, and Roddy came up to be closer to us, and eventually purchasing a house in Katingal not far from where Richard lives. His friend Mark Lane in Western Australia put a little bit of a thing in his mind about working on the oil rigs. Mark was on the oil rigs himself in a mechanical supervisionary role, and Roddy was able to get a stint on with Atwood Oceanics on an exploration oil rig out in the northwest of Queensland in the Indian Ocean. And there he worked as a rouseabout and deck crew. I believe we have a video later of one of his little anecdotes on that. That particular rig was decommissioned because the oil prices were falling, so lo and behold, Roddy's back in Tamworth, where he worked for the council in waste management and water management for some years, from September 2015. In 2022, he joined Water New South Wales, where very quickly he rose from a customer field officer to acting team leader and then team leader for field services. Quite a varied career. I'd like to quote a paragraph from a communique that his boss, Michelle Yeaman, sent to the staff regarding Roddy after she died. It sort of sums Roddy's devotion to his work, which he always had, and when he did something, he didn't do it by halves. She says, "Rob was larger than life and had a heart to match, and everyone who knew him had a deep affection for him. Within regional operations North Team, Rob was considered an outstanding team leader who deeply cared for his team and travelled extensively around the region to spend time with them." I remember him telling me all about it. He embodied the spirit of customer excellence and had a strong relationships with the irrigation customers across the region. In the Tamworth office, Rob brought an energy and humour that contributed to a positive office culture. He will be sorely missed. That sums up my boy. Whatever he did it well. Thank you for listening.
Pretty happy my pants didn't split then. Thank you, Jeff. I'd like to call up Rich, Roddy's brother, best mate. Yeah, you got to keep a little bit PG.
A bit hard with him.
The other stories are for the pub.
Oh, it should be all right. I got a bit out of me before. Hello, everybody. As you're well aware, I'm his elder brother, my dearly beloved younger brother. I couldn't have wished for a better brother. He was so much fun. I think over the years, a lot of times jealous of my brother because he was better looking little bastard, especially when he was younger. And he pulled the Sheilas better than I did. He did. And that didn't stop either as time went on, I can tell you. And I remember throwing a bloody cracker in when he was... Anyway, we won't go on that one. Yeah, I know. Look, as Dad said, we grew up in Sydney. To start off with, then we went to Orient Point. At Orient Point, we had a lot of fun at Orient Point as kids. We had the river, we went fishing, we did all sorts of things. And we had a ball, we really did. My brother got one of those things you put over the fly, he got a fly sheet. So the Westleys at Orient Point used to scoot straight up Arama Crescent, and they were really strong. So Roddy gets a skateboard and gets his fly sheet, and he's full on with he stacked it, of course, and busted himself up. But he was flying, and I mean, he was fucking scooting. But that was Roddy. He'd like doing crazy shit like that. And then, yeah, you remember that one. And then, yeah, from Orient Point, we got to Shoalhaven Heads. Well, I was 16, Roddy was 13. Orient Point, well, you know, we had the mission down the road. Well, yeah, there wasn't a lot of women to choose from at Orient Point. They were all retirees. So, anyway, I am. It's good. Then we got to Shoalhaven Heads. Well, Shoalhaven Heads had a smorgasbord of women out there. I did. So that's where Roddy really started to play up. And I mean, he did. And I've got to tell this story. I am. No. So I started working at the Great Southern Hotel in Berry. And that was good fun. With bands Friday, Saturday night. Roddy turns up with two girls. One from Crookwell. I don't know where the other one was from. Anyway, I somehow ended up with the girl that he had a few weeks later on, and little did we know that she had everything worked out. So she'd come over from Crookwell to Shoalhaven Heads to stay in the caravan park. Days of no mobile phones. So she'd say to me, I'm coming over this weekend. I'd spend that weekend with her. She was telling my brother, which I didn't know, 2 weeks, she was coming over. So this went on for about 3 months, this is serious. And then we met up at the caravan park on a Saturday night, and I said, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? No. Fair dinkum. So we worked out it was his turn, so I left and went to the pub. Yeah, that was funny. That was if you're watching the girl from Crookwell, you were good fun. Yeah, some of the things we did, I can tell you. And that was Shoalhaven Heads days. He did have a stint too in Western Australia, which Dad said over there. He got to know some Kiwis over there, and they bet him to drink some sea urchins raw. I think it was $50 or something. Anyway, when he did that, he was in with the Maoris. They actually carved him. He's got a beautiful surfboard all carved out. That they carved and painted one of the guys and gave him as a present because he was part of the clan over there. Didn't matter where Roddy went, he always fit in and partied. He really did. There's a little thing on the oil rigs which I'd like to show, which is classic Roddy. Roddy could watch a movie and then 10 years later he would recite something out of that movie. His memory was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now, I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Yellowbeard. One of our favourites. I was actually waiting for him to jump out of there and say, you've got to kill me before I die. Yeah, unfortunately that won't happen. So if we could put that snippet on from the oil rigs with my brother, whoever's doing that.
We've been out at sea for weeks and weeks, and we've seen nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Ships ahoy!
Ah, it's the Edith. There she is. That's actually the Mearsk logger. That's one of the boats we get. Look how big that is. Nice big boat. Bringing us lots of supplies. Some of them are important for drilling holes in the ground, and others are good for eating.
Did you hear the banging?
Well, they must have a prostitute on board. Anyway, it's a big boat.
That was Roddy. That was Roddy all over. I love my brother dearly, and I could bounce off him because he was very smart, very witty. I didn't often get one on him, but when I did, it was well worth it. And occasionally he said, yeah, no, I'll take that. That was good. He was the best brother an older brother could ever have. His entertainment value was priceless, absolutely priceless. I will miss him dearly. And thank you everybody for being here today for my brother. And I dare say we'll definitely have a few drinks when we get back to the Cootie Hotel. Oh, by the way, I'd also like, before we, I don't know how the speech is, dear Harry, Tilly and little George, putting on the wake back at Cootie Hotel on their behalf, by the way. So I just thought I'd say that, and I'm there. I'd also like to thank my mate Nathan. He came down at a time of crisis and has helped put all this together, because I couldn't have done it without him. No way. I was an absolute wreck. So, one more thing. He went out enjoying himself. He stripped off naked and went fucking straight into his pool. And that's, unfortunately, was his demise, but he was enjoying himself. So I wanted everybody to know that. He was enjoying himself when he went out. Thank you.
Well, that certainly lightened my sad mood. But Roddy and I had a lot of laughs, as did everyone here who knew that it was his laughter. He never minded sometimes that he was the butt of the joke. As our little group knows, we often made fun of him, and he would wear it and then give it back. Funny boy, that laugh. But more than that, he was generous and supportive, encouraging. He believed in his friends, his family. He believed in anyone that was a reasonable person. And his glass was always half full. He was never a half-empty person. He was an optimist. He left my place for here 10 years ago with $125 in his pocket and told me he was going to buy a house. And I went, "Golf. You're not buying a house." A year later, he owns a house. He was always the optimist. He never wished ill on anyone, envisioning the world without his raucous laughter, as we've just heard. That little video brought back his voice. That laughter could be heard across the other side of the room. You knew who was at the other end of that crowded room. I feel like he's just about to pick up the phone and ask us how we are. Well, we're all on speed dial, all the time. He was the glue that kept our friendships together. He could be trusted. He wasn't afraid of his emotions. I'll miss him. I don't know where we all go after this life, but I just hope one day Roddy and I cross paths again. I'd like to invite our good mate Josh up to say a few things.
Awkward hug.
Yeah, awkward kiss on the shoulder.
I'll take a kiss from you anytime, Mog. Yeah. Thanks, Mog. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Jeff. I'm Josh, and I've been given the impossible task of speaking on behalf of Roddy's friends. Impossible because there's so much to say about the man that it's hard to know where to start. And the guardrails of decorum in this context are a little bit limiting, but we'll stick to them. Impossible because he had so many friends and so many friend groups from around the country and around the world that I won't do you all justice in the short time available, so apologies in advance. And impossible because the loss has left us all speechless and a bit numb, but I'll try. I'll try by reading a couple of telegrams that people have sent. One from his good mate Phil Herbert, who's unfortunately, as Jeff said, stuck on a fresh defence assignment in the UK, and another from a very good mate, Andrew Kinross, who similarly stuck on a Navy ship at the moment. Yeah, Navy ship. And they're both gutted they can't be here. But I'll start by giving a few descriptions and then colour it in with a few stories and then read those telegrams. So, how to describe the man. See if you can visualise some of him in these words. Dreamer, dancer, lover, laugher, drummer, lover, planner, worker, lover, student, reader, lover, gardener, traveller, lover, shirtless, naked, lover, golfer, gambler, lover, loyal, brave, lover, clever, optimistic, lover. If you were paying attention, you might have noticed a little theme in there. One of the many things Roddy was loved for was for love. He was quick to love. He saw the good in everybody. He fell in love 1,000 times in 5 minutes. Fast and deep, he held lifelong friendships, formed in love. And he loved Sue and Jeff and Richard with an unconditionality that is the stuff of poets. He loved us, his mates, with a deep loyalty and commitment, always making things brighter, more fun, louder. Connecting, organising, making memories and making us all better people. Now some stories. I'll pick a couple of stories, short stories, that try to colour in some of those words. It's bloody hard to pick the stories. It's a long list. He's unique and hard to describe and at the same time unforgettable. He lived at least 3 lifetimes by my reckoning, by most measures. We reckon he was... it was as if Patrick Swayze and Casanova had a love child with Shrek. Sorry, Richard, but you know what I mean. So the first story, the dancer. He was incredibly blessed with physicality, an accomplished ballet dancer, judo practitioner, very athletic, strong, and a great ballroom dancer. Only recently, and I'll get this story wrong because I got it second hand, Roddy and Richard and the crew were at the Katingal pub laughing and making merry, and Roddy had a dance with a lady there, and they had a wonderful time, and everyone watched and clapped because he was pretty bloody good. And they'd had a good time, and then pretty soon after, a big bloke approached and said, "Oi mate, I hear you can dance." And Roddy never started a fight in his life, but turned around probably ready for one, and he said, "Would you mind dancing with my missus for a while? I've got 2 left feet." And so the story goes, he did, and everybody had a good time. He loved dance so much, and he'd say to me, "Josh, it's dance, not dance." Probably a blessing from his beautiful mother Sue, I suspect, on how to pronounce things properly. The second story is Roddy the Loyal and the Brave. A bunch of us had been to some pub in Nowra, and we stumbled out at some hour, and a large local mob was busy beating up a young man outside, not too unusual in Nowra. They'd successfully rendered him unconscious and proceeded to giving him a good kicking on the ground. And a group of about 10 to 15, I think, and so we ran in and grabbed the kid under the arms and were trying to get him into a taxi, and then they started in on me and kicking and punching me in the head, and Roddy rushed in and held the whole crowd at bay, 10 or 15 of them, while we got this kid into the taxi and away to the hospital to get fixed up and patched up, and that's what happened. And Roddy got his first and only police commendation for that. I think there were a few commendations in the other direction, but that was one where the New South Wales Police commended him for his bravery and his service to the community. Third story, the laughter, the ant. He's a bit like an ant from The Lord of the Rings. Rooted to the ground, a deep, booming voice, huge stamina, slow to get going, but by geez, when he did, you couldn't stop him for days. A force of nature, cheeky grin, energy for days, We'd been on a massive bucks party down at the south coast for 3 days or something, and I'd finally escaped on the Sunday afternoon back to Braidwood, and all the other guys were heading north to Nowra and Sydney. I got home to my wife Nicole, and I was sitting on the lounge nursing my kidneys, drinking water, and apparently there'd been a fire and the highway was shut, and Roddy and 3 cars turned up out the front, and Nicole still talks about the moan that escaped my lips when I saw them turn up at the front of my place. He had the stamina of an elephant. He lit up a room with laughter, movie quotes, always had a plan, overseas trips, golf weekends, Gold Coast and Brisbane, fun with Richard, UK for 50ths, always up for a good time, usually shirtless, often naked, always with a beer in hand. So from all of his mates, his schoolmates, BHP mates, band mates, Shoalhaven mates, UK mates, WA and oil rig mates, UK mates, dog and fox mates, Katingal mates, Water New South Wales mates, and everyone else. We love you, mate. So on to those other readings. Hopefully there's a couple of extra stories from his mates. Hopefully I represented some of you reasonably well. And hopefully Jeff and Richard, as his best mates, a couple of little stories for you there as well. Now the other 2 readings. One short from Andrew Kinross, and the other one is long. Phil's a lifelong defence public servant and plenty of time on his hands, and he used it well. So firstly, Andrew Kinross writes, "My sincere apologies for not being able to attend today's service. Roddy was a great friend of mine over 30 years. He was larger than life, and live life he did. I have so many fond memories of time with him, nearly always involving a beer or 10. He wore his heart on his sleeve and was an all-round top bloke. He'll be greatly missed by us all. My deepest condolences to Roddy's family and friends. Rest in peace, brother." This from Phil. Settle in. Firstly, Jeff, Richard, Olivia, Sam, my deepest condolences. You've lost the most precious person and such a central figure in your lives. The hardest of speeches to write, the goodbye you'd hope you would never be said. How do you distill such a deep friendship, a bond, a life like Roddy's into a few words on a page? He was many things to many people: son, brother, uncle, friend, a backyard mechanic, motor enthusiast, drummer in a rock band, ballet dancer, metallurgist, bar manager, landscaper, intelligent, thoughtful, extrovert, confident, and oh so very confident. A ladies' man, international traveller, the bridge between friendship groups, horticulturalist, master chili sauce cook. And quite often a bit of a wanker. Not my words. The guardrails, Jeff, are in place, sorry. Who needed to be told, stop being a wanker, Roddy. And Phil was the one that took that role in our group mostly. And then Phil goes on to say, maybe the start is a good place to begin. So this is the beginning. Like a lot of us here today, our journey started in 1988 when we all commenced at Year 7 at Nowra High School. We were all just kids. Roddy and I were still 11 years old, all thrown together in what was at times a very complex, tricky and scary environment. And it was. It was during those formative years that deep bonds were formed, friendships built upon laughter, crazy antics and a genuine caring for one another. Roddy was known for his blonde hair, bronzed complexion and a very cheeky grin. Who would ever forget him flicking the bird in the front row of the Year 10 school photos and it not being picked up and sent out to every family? He never had a bad word or an act of meanness towards anybody, a rare quality. During this time, there were many parties on the beach, the back flat of Matthews Street, Shoalhaven Heads and Josh's place at Warrigie Street. Finishing school, Roddy went to his cadetship in Wollongong, while I started my apprenticeship in Bomaderry. After a few years of hard work at the steelworks, Roddy purchased his place at Oval Drive, Shoalhaven Heads. After I finished my apprenticeship and commenced studying my degree at Berry campus, Roddy invited me to live with him at Oval Crescent. Oh boy, what a riot. Parties, benders, hangovers, only curable by another bender, road trips to Queensland, episodes of South Park cricket and Rugby World Cup victories, endless battles of worms on the PlayStation, sessions at the gym followed by ridiculously hot curries. There was only one toilet in the house, folks. I repeat, only one toilet. $6.50 steaks and schooners at the Shoalhaven Heads pub, jamming until Bob next door almost had an aneurysm, starting a rock band with Mog and Benny. Chicks! I think I mentioned his horticultural skills, didn't I? It wasn't always smooth sailing though. Mistakes were made, lessons learned the hard way, end-of-night romantic choices, the use of a vacuum cleaner to deal with a drunken vomit on the carpet. The technique used to check if the sparker on the newly constructed potato gun was operating, resulting in the loss of both eyebrows. I'm not sure if they ever grew back, did they? Alas, the party came to an end in 2001 with myself starting a family whilst Roddy embarked on more wild adventures in WA and overseas. Upon his return, things started up again with regular gatherings, golf trips away with the lads, bucks parties and crashing weddings. Thank God he was a big bugger. He came to my rescue a few times. Roddy was always the centre of attention, magnetic and the glue who held everything together. Always a story to tell for any occasion. His remarkable ability to strike up new friendships no matter the circumstances. This was a theme which endured throughout the years. No matter how far away we were, no matter how much time spent apart, we would always seem to pick up things where they left off. We always knew we would be there for each other during the dark times and good times, and there to celebrate the good times. The last time I saw Roddy was the long weekend in October last year when he came down from Tamworth for a gathering. I moved to the UK in January this year, and the last conversation I had with him was in the departure lounge, where he called to wish me luck and provide an update on his plans for coming over to celebrate the 50th birthdays together next year. The news of his sudden passing was shattering and has left us all completely heartbroken. I can't believe there won't be one more beer, one more crazy story, one more phone call greeted with a deep Herbie, one last bear hug after an 8-hour drive to Katingle to see my best mate. He will leave a massive hole in all our hearts, and life just won't be quite the same without him. They say the universe is 13.8 billion years old and the Earth some 4 billion years. The odds of simply coexisting at the same time as Roddy are astronomical. What an immense privilege it is to have had Roddy in my life for what now seems like a very fleeting 37 years. I know I'm a better human for having known him. You may be gone now, Roddy, but you will never be forgotten. Love you, mate. That's from Phil Herbert. So, I'll finish now. It was a privilege to try to speak on behalf of Roddy's mates, and to sum up, he was a unique being filled with love. He collected friends everywhere he went, and I was blessed to count myself as one of them. I think of him now, and I bet he's looking down on us with love and a wicked twinkle in his eye. He'll be bronzed, blonde, curly blonde hair, well-muscled, probably wearing a toga or nothing, surrounded by grapes, wine, ale, olive, cheese, steaks, chilli, and no doubt a few dozen happy people that he loves and who love him. Miss you, mate, and love you. Thank you.
Thanks, George.
You're awesome. He's awesome, isn't he? No wonder Roddy wanted to be friends with him. Josh, sorry, I'm stuck on you at the moment. Roddy had a love of poetry. Not many people know it. Few of us did. I think he got it from Sue, I'm assuming. So look, I've picked out I'm not sure Rod knew this one. He probably did. I've jumped a spot. Sorry, guys. I was actually going to invite some of Roddy's other friends. Big Al, do you want to come up and... You're right. Watto, Laney, anyone in the audience like to say anything they'd like to add to Roddy, or everyone's okay? Good. Well, we will do the poll then. I'm back on track. It's a short poem called The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for the passing there had warmed them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads to way, I doubt if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by. And that has made all the difference. I'd like to draw your attention to the screens. Nathan, in a short space of time, has put together a very, very short 3-minute video of a rather extravagant life. Put to some music that Rod loves. Enjoy.
I see your shadow on the street now. I hear you push through the rusty gate. Pick up your heels on the concrete, waiting for an coming way too late. It seems an age since I've seen ya. Countdown as the weeks trickle into days. So you come in and put your bags down. I know there's something in the air. How can I do this to you right now? You're over there when I need you here. My happiness slowly creeping back. Now you're at home. If it ever starts sinking in, it must be when you pack up and go. It seems an age since I've seen ya. Countdown as the weeks trickle into days. I hope that time hasn't changed ya. All I really want is for you to stay. So you come in and put your bags down. I know there's something in the air. How can I do this to you right now? You're over there when I need you here. My happiness slowly creeping back. Now you're at home. If it ever starts sinking in, it must be when you pack up and go. I know what is inside. I know what is inside. I know what is inside. I know what is inside.
What a goose, huh? As we conclude today's service, let us remember that Roddy will always be a part of us. The love, the memories that we shared will continue to live on in our hearts. Thank you all for being here today to honour him. Please feel free to join Jeff and Richard and the rest of us at Katingle Hotel, where we continue to share the outer guardrail stories. Yeah, it's a sad day, but also a happy day. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Matthew.
could take all night. Think I need a devil to help me get things right.
Flamingos walk and sway in peace. Seeing this, it makes my trouble cease. The sun is hiding, leaving a pink scar that stretches right across the sky. That's all we've seen so far. And all I do is look into your eyes for that special touch of paradise. Just a touch of paradise. Just a special touch of paradise. You hold my hand, that's when we kiss. Doesn't take long, no, for me to get the kiss. All this love that stretches out across the land, where rainbows flash as we walk in the sand. And all I do is look into your eyes for that special touch of paradise. Just a touch